Hello and welcome to this tutorial on slope of a line. By the end of this lesson, you'll be able to calculate and interpret slope of a line. What you'll need to know is how to simplify fractions, how to make a table of values, substitution, and ordered pairs. If you are really struggling with these concepts and you don't think you can pick these up here, I have a video on each of these concepts. I have prerequisite videos for every video that I make. So feel free to view those. The best thing to do is have a good foundation before you continue. Slope is the ratio of the vertical change up or down of a line to the horizontal change left to right. For any straight line, there's only 4 different types of slope, and the slope is read from left to right. So if we look at this line from left to right, we can see that this slope is increasing and this slope is decreasing. That is, the line is decreasing. This line is neither increasing nor decreasing, and this line is dropping very steeply, just like dropping off of a cliff. So that's undefined. That means we can't put any number to that. It's dropping too fast. And so these will be the only 4 types of slope that you'll ever see: a positive slope, a negative slope, a zero slope, or an undefined slope. The symbol for slope is m. We can calculate that m given 2 ordered pairs, x comma y. We can calculate the slope m by just taking the ratio, the difference between the values between y2 and y1 and x2 and x1. So what that means is we take 2 points on the line. I can take a point here and a point here, and by taking those points, taking the difference in the ratio of those points, I can tell the slope of this line. And that means just how this line is tilted. Is it straight? Is it going down? Is it going up? Or is it undefined? So what we're going to see is that when the line is up or down, this slope is going to be negative. M is going to be negative when it's going down, positive when it's going up. And you're going to see specific type of values, specific type of patterns when it's straight like that, and when it's undefined, you're going to see certain patterns in the x's and the y's that'll always be there to let you know that that line is either straight, a horizontal line, a flat surface, or a vertical line like a drop off of a cliff. So let's look at the following example. 2 points on the line are 3, 4 and 5, 6. Find the slope. Well, the slope m equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Okay, so what's that mean? I can label this. It doesn't matter which point I label, but I'm going to label the first one x1, y1, x2, y2. We could label either one of these either way. You're going to come up with the same slope. So m equals, we just plug these in. Here's our substitution, y2. And be careful, because it's easy to mess this up, even though this is very simple. So you want to go as slow as you need to. Y2 is 6. Y1 is 4. X2 is 5. X1 is 3. So m equals 6 minus 4, 2. 5 minus 3, 2. So m equals 2 over 2, 1. And a line with a slope of 1 looks something like this. And this is a positive slope. As we can see, the line is going up if we read it from left to right. So feel free to solve the next example, or follow along with me while I solve it. But remember, when it comes to math, you're going to have to practice to get the concept. You can't just watch. So the 2 points, 5, 3 and 5, negative 1 are on a line. How would you find the slope? Well, you can pause the video, or if you're following along, m equals y2 minus y1. And it really helps to write down these formulas, because you'll memorize these formulas in no time if you work a bunch of these problems. And then when it comes to test time, you won't have to visit these formulas. So I got x1, label them like as y1 if you want, x2, y2, and it's really not necessary. If you just take this as 1 and take that as 2, you won't have to do that. So m equals y2 minus y1, which is a negative 1, minus 3 all over x2, which is 5, minus 5. But it is helpful. It is helpful if they're labeled. It just makes it that much easier. So negative 1 minus 4 is going to give me a negative. Minus 3 is going to give me a negative 4. 5 minus 5, 0. Anything over 0, that's undefined. So that is the undefined. And you see with the undefined, both of the x's are the same. When the x's are the same, it's likely to be undefined. And an undefined slope, if you remember from the diagram, this is just quick and dirty. It's just a straight line up and down like that. It's dropping too fast. Anything over 0 is really a large number, and it's large, so large we can't calculate it, so we call it undefined. So feel free to pause the video and solve the following. These two are also 2 points on a line. So what is the slope? Okay, if you're following along, m equals x1, y1, x2, y2. M equals y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. M equals y2, which is a negative 5, minus y1, which is a negative 8. And put it in parentheses to keep it in order. If you don't do that, good chance you'll get something simple like this. Get it wrong. x2, which is minus 1, minus x1, which is also a negative 8. So m equals negative 5 minus minus is plus. So that's a plus 3 all over minus, and a minus minus is plus, so that's a plus 7. So slope m equals 3 over 7. If that's what you came up with, then you're on the right track. And so we can also, if we're given a line, we can find points on that line. So if we want to find 2 points on this line, we make a table, x comma y. And now when you want to select your values and you want to find values, you want to find the easiest values possible to fill up your table. So I'll go with smallest numbers possible, like 0 and 1. It's only asking me for 2 values, so I'm going to select an x value of 0, select an x value of 1. And you generally want to select the x value and find the y. So y equals, we're going to substitute x equals 0 plus 2. So that equals 2. So for x equals 0, y equals 2. That's one ordered pair. That's 1 point on the line. So we're going to go y equals, we're going to substitute back into the equation again, this time 1. 1 plus 2, 3. And that's our second ordered pair. So we did the reverse this time. We found the points on the line. The last time we had the points and we found the slope. So that's how easy it is just to find 2 points on the line. Let's look at another example. So we have the equation y equals negative 2. Now, first thing we do, make a table, x comma y. Now you see there's no x here. So that might fool you a little bit, but we still pick x values, and let's see what happens. I pick x equals 0. We're still going to go with the small values, x equals 0. But what does y equal? Negative 2. I pick x equals 1, negative 2. That means for any value of x, y equals negative 2. So what does that look like on the graph? It looks like this. We just draw up our quick graph. It doesn't have to be perfect. There's origin. Here's my y, my x. So where is negative 2? Y of negative 2 is down here. I'll go 1, 2. So y of negative 2. So for all values of x, y is going to go through negative 2. I just draw my lines like that. That's the way I can kind of get it straight. And so that's the line y equals negative 2. And you see it has, remember, it's a horizontal line, so m, the slope, is 0. M, the slope, is 0. Every line like this, it could be a line going up here, horizontal. If it's flat, that means it doesn't slope. M equals 0. m equals 0 for all of those lines. So use that information in those examples to solve the following example. I have x equals -2. Okay, and you can follow along with me as well. Now this is a similar example, but a little bit of a twist on it, but we still make a table, x comma y. So the difference here, if we have no y, but we still know that no matter what, x equals -2. So x equals -2 for y equals, say y equals 0. So x equals -2. Now, x equals -2 even for y equals 1. That's letting us know that x equals -2 for all values. And remember, these are ordered pairs. So we could take a look at the graph and see what it's like. Here's my graph. 0. Okay, y, x. Okay. Actually, I don't like that. That's really tilted. I'm going to redo that. It's still going to be a little tilted. Well, that line is straight. Okay. So I have y, x. And so x equals -2. So if I can go -1, -2, I don't have to put in all the values, you just put in whatever you have. So x equals -2 for all values of y. So no matter what y equals, x equals -2. So I'm going to come down here like that. And so this is the line x equals -2. And so you can see that is dropping fast. That's an undefined. So that's an undefined slope, and that's the line x equals -2. Feel free to pause the video and try the following example, or you can follow along with me. We have 4x minus 3y equals 24. Okay, so once again, we want to find 2 points on the line. And so make a table, x comma y. And in this case, we're going to pick the easiest values possible. There's a little trick to this one. I look at this problem, and I look at that y, I look at that x. I'm going to pick 0 for each one of those and see if I can get away with finding 2 quick points by just picking a 0x and a 0y. So I'm going to pick x equals 0 for one, and I'm going to pick y equals 0 for the other one. So if x equals 0, I have 4 times 0 minus 3y equals 24. That goes away. So that equals minus 3y equals 24. So that means y equals -8, because -3 times -8 equals 24. So that means y equals -8. Now let's do the same thing for the other value. I have 4x minus, in this case y is 0, 3 times 0 equals 24. So that's 0, so 4x equals 24. So x equals 6, since 4 times 6 equals 24. And so those are my 2 values. And you see, you want to always look for opportunities and ways to make these problems go quickly and smoothly. So you want to pick, whenever you're making a table of values, I always found I'm going for my zeros, I'm going for my ones. And sometimes too, it depends. If you have a fraction, sometimes you want to go for, if you have a fraction of 1/3, then you want to go for 3 so that you can cancel those 3s. And you know, whatever approach to make these numbers nice and neat, so that when you draw your graph as well, you're using whole number values like we have in the second example, as opposed to all kinds of fraction values where it just becomes a big mess. And you can draw up a quick graph that way using those values. So let's recap it all. There are going to be 4 types of straight lines that you'll see: a positive, one with a positive slope, a negative slope, a 0 slope, and an undefined slope. The symbol for slope is m. M is either going to be a positive number, a negative number, 0, or undefined. And the slope is simply the ratio of the vertical change, the up, down, to the horizontal change, the left, right of the line. And the formula for slope is m the symbol m is given for slope, and it's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1, a simple ratio. And you're given 2 points, you're given 2 ordered pairs, x1 comma y1, x2 comma y2, and you just take those values and you substitute them into the ratio. And remember, if you're given 2 points, those points are on the same line, and you can define the slope of the line by m y2 over minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So you can figure out what the slope is by that formula. And here is an example. The main thing to remember, as before, is that we want to keep everything organized. You have sometimes a lot of negative signs and whatnot, so you want to make sure that you have your y2s and your y1s straight. That's the main thing in finding slope. Otherwise, you can make a very straightforward problem a little more difficult. Finally, if you have a line, you can find any points along that line. In this case, we were looking for 2 points along that line, but you can find any points along that line. Just making a table, and in this case, we made a table and we selected the values. We're always going to select the smallest values possible, the easiest values to plug into your equation, and that's going to give you the simplest other values. So if you pick an easy x value, they'll give you a simple y value. You pick an easy y value, it'll give you a simple x value. You're not always choosing x or choosing y, you're choosing whichever one that makes sense. So that's it. Hopefully this tutorial was helpful to you. Please like, subscribe, share, support. Thank you for tuning in.